Hey pals, Michael here. This is my house actually. This is where I'm going to do all of my reviews of the Disney parks when I'm not at the parks. Welcome. So today I want to talk about one land in particular in the parks. One that's been hotly debated lately, and I thought I'd throw my 2 cents into the mix. And of course I'm talking about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Now, a lot of people have been raising some concerns and comments about the park lately, and I wanted to address some of them because I feel like the park, the land itself, is not getting the credit and the respect that it deserves. So if you hear me out for a couple minutes, I'm going to explain my point. So the complaints I've been hearing have been ranging all over, from the food tastes funny to the ride is too interactive and confusing to some, all the way to most recently where they just announced that all of the names, the Star Wars themed names for the food items at Docking Bay 7 will now be changed from what they were, like Yip Yip, to chicken or pot roast or veggie sampler, which is a real shame because when you think about what Galaxy's Edge is supposed to be, a fully immersive land, these little tiny details that they put into the park, they're a part of what makes it so great. So I want to talk a little bit today about why I think Galaxy's Edge is one of the best and most innovative lands that Disney has ever created in any of their parks. To start, let's just talk about the land in general. If you look around, that park is detailed and designed so perfectly that you really feel like you stepped off of the earth and are now in the Star Wars universe on Batuu. Every little detail of that park, from the Arabesh on the signage all the way to the Millennium Falcon in full scale, everything about that park is engineered and refined to such a almost perfect detail that it's really hard to find anything wrong with the way the land looks. Another element that I absolutely love about Galaxy's Edge is the cast member interactions. Every single cast member that's been signed on to work in Galaxy's Edge has their own storyline behind their character and has built up this role that they play, and they love to interact with the guests as these characters. Not a single cast member that I've talked to or interacted with while at the park has ever made it seem like they're playing a character. That's who they are. They live in Black Spire Outpost, and that is their life. They live it. It's as immersive as the cast members who play costume characters in any of the other parks. The only difference is that they're just in Star Wars cast member uniforms. That's the only difference. They're no different than the Stormtroopers or Kylo Ren or Rey running around in the park. And if people, guests, understood that level of detail that went into the cast member process, I think it would completely change their opinions of how well that park is built. Another great element of the park is the food. Now, granted, I know that some of the food is a little off-putting for some. The flavors are very different. The way that many of the items that are presented are a little strange. But remember, they created these items so that you could feel like you really are on another world. They're supposed to feel foreign. They're supposed to feel alien. That's the point of it. And I haven't had a single thing there that was gross or not worth buying again. So I think the problem is that a lot of people have an expectation when they come to the parks that they know what they like, They want to stick with what they like, and they don't want a lot of deviations and a lot of strange things. And I think that that's one of the problems that people have with the food in Galaxy's Edge. But I think if you go in with an open mind, and eventually you're going to find that a lot of the things that you thought were gross are actually really good. You just kind of have to ease into them a little bit. Something else I find funny that I hear about all the time is how the ride is hard or confusing. Actually, I've ridden it a couple times, and so far I've found that no, it's not hard at all. The ride literally shows you what to do each and every time. You just have to follow along. Now, another point that I hear is that, well, if I'm doing all these things and I'm moving all these buttons and levers and stuff, I can't see what's being put in front of me. Well, that's the point. You have to go into Smuggler's Run and treat it like a video game. It's not Star Tours. It's not Soarin'. It's a video game. That's the best way to look at it. And if you're not a fan of video games, and if you're not a fan of doing stuff like that, then maybe you don't want to ride the ride. But for those of us that do like it, it's a lot of fun. Now, granted, I have yet to get my third coaxium, as most people haven't, and I'm still convinced that the ones that did get the 3 coaxium are cheating. I don't know. But other than that, the ride itself, it's a blast. It's an absolute blast. And I think that a lot of the folks that get upset by it and don't think that it's a fun ride aren't embracing it for what it really is. Like I said, it's a game. And eventually I hope that Disney Imagineering figures out a way to maybe turn on like an autopilot feature, so that way you can just press a button and then you don't have to do anything. You can just watch the ride like you would want to. Unfortunately, there's going to be people that are going to be like that. They're going to want to just ride and not interact. So I think they need to give that as an option. But every other element of the ride, and the queuing, I love the fact they have a single rider line. I think that's 10 times better than a fast pass line ever could be. I think that between that and the standby, I think for what it's worth, it's fantastic. It's set up very well. The standby queue is great. There's so many fun little interactive elements. And if you're not using the DataPad app from the My Disney Play app, you're missing out on so much. I mean, I love playing with the DataPad. You go around and you can translate the signs that are in Arabesh. You can find the transmitters, and you can actually set those up to listen for incoming signals from the First Order or for the Rebellion. And it's just a lot of fun. My favorite is in the droid factory, I believe. There's a K2SO that's in a cage, and there's a sign in Arabesh, and when you translate it, it says, "These are not the droids you're looking for." I think that's a great little Easter egg for all the fans out there. So the last point I want to make is that when you go to Galaxy's Edge, really spend some time in the park. Just don't go in and get some food and ride the ride and then leave. Really find a great spot to just take a moment and just take in all the sights that are around you, and sounds and smells. And when you really give that park some time to sink in, and to give yourself the opportunity to immerse yourself in Galaxy's Edge, it takes on a completely different feel than it does for the folks that just come in and then leave. It's a land that I've never seen done to this level before. Closest I ever thought I might have seen was the Harry Potter lands in Universal, or Pandora in Animal Kingdom. Those lands, when you're there, you feel like you're there. And it's that kind of immersion that makes Galaxy's Edge one of the greatest lands in all of the Disney parks. Anyway, so that's just my 2 cents. I wanted to throw that out there and kind of get your guys' idea. What do you think of Galaxy's Edge? Have you enjoyed your time there? What would you, if you ran the park, if you were in charge of the zoo, what would you change about the park to make it perfect in your eyes? What would you want to see get better there that will make you think twice and say, you know what, I think I will go back and try them again? Let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, so this is going to be my setup. This is where I'm going to be for, like I said, all the videos when I'm not at the parks, which with my work schedule is often. So yeah, so I hope you guys like it. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so that way you're notified of when we're going to do our next video and see where we turn up next. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye.